Next, we have Justin Wells.
It's a little short. Good evening, you guys. So I sat down. I wanted to commend you guys on this event that you guys put together. I feel like it's very necessary for us to talk about this, so I wanted to thank all you guys on the panel, first and foremost. But I sat there long and hard thinking about a question I was going to come down here and ask. And, I mean, although I can come down here and ask a lot of questions, one of the things that I wanted to touch on is, one of the things that I believe in, too, is you can't fight hate with hate. You guys, both of you two touched on that earlier. But to me, what are you supposed to do as a people of non-color when you have these alt-right movements or these national groups, and they're coming down in your cities, and they're coming down here, and what are you supposed to do? Are you not supposed to get offended? Are you not supposed to feel anything or to do anything? And then when you finally try to speak up in a peaceful manner, you get shut down and shunned away by society. So how do you expect us as a people of color to do that and to progress in America if we, quite frankly, we're not allowed to? A lot of us come from backgrounds where we're already fighting a system that isn't built for us in America in the first place. So when you have these nationalist groups come down and you say, and you tell us, hey, it's not good to fight hate with hate, but what has sitting around got us all these years? Where has that got us? Look how far it's got us. So I want you guys as a panel to answer that. What, as a people, can we do to combat this then?
You run for office, you get your college degree, you vote, you call your old professors from time to time, and know that there's a movement of people that stands with you. It's bigger than you think. The loudest, most cacophonous voices of hate have a short half-life. And I can tell you that the person who made me go into what I do, Judge Leon Higginbotham, when he was at a segregated school and living in an attic, and he went to the dean, and the dean said, we're separate but equal, we're doing what we're required to do. He redoubled his efforts, and he became a U.S. federal judge. You do the same thing.
Assemblymember Medina.
If I can add something to that. First, when it comes to fighting hate and counter-protesting, things like that, that in itself is something that I'm sure Jeff will attest to. They knew that, they expected that. They would show up with 12 Nazis and have 700 counter-protesters show up. Who do you think got arrested? The counter-protesters, because usually anger led to violence, which led to the arrest. That doesn't do anybody any good. All it does is get the Nazis and the Klan and the white supremacists the attention that they crave. So that's the first problem. And they went to those rallies knowing that and knowing what would happen. So there are other ways to express your concerns. Now we have social media where you can go online and calmly discuss these things. As Jeff said, maybe you can try to make friends with somebody, maybe not at one of those rallies or something else, but the negativity that comes out of some of those things does not do any of us any good. It only benefits the extremists.
I'd like to respond to the young people. So thank you, Assemblymember Bloom. In my opening remarks, I said that I'm happy to be here and encourage all folks to stand up to hate. But it needs, and I agree with the young people, us to stand up to it every time it happens. Because we do live, unfortunately, in a racist society, that racism permeates our society. And we see it everywhere. We see it everywhere. We see it on the street. We see it in institutions. Unfortunately, we continue to see it. And we are seeing it more. And to me, there is a spectrum of hate. And we are looking at right now, the most strong form of hate. But we can go all the way down to what I read today. Someone seeing us, a person of color in line, perhaps in the first class, and asking us, are we in the right place? Or like we saw in Riverside, remarks made by the conductor of the Metrolink train, another Poly High School grad, and referring to that train as going to Tijuana. And the girl stood up. The girl stood up. She videotaped those remarks. She then came to my office. I got the Metrolink president to come to my office, and we had a meeting. By videotaping it, she got it on the news. So I think it's incumbent upon us to every single time that we see someone infringe upon us, question whether we belong or not belong in a certain place, to stand up. We can do it respectfully. We can do it with kindness, but we need to stand up.
And I wanted to say, too, when we had these rallies and there was fighting and things like that, the people in the movement, they thrived on that, absolutely thrived on it. When there was violence and they could get a chance to fight. I remember we did a rally, it was in Mississippi, and the police had done some kind of, they cordoned off some of the streets. There was hardly anybody out there to hear it. Like they say, we've got free speech in this country, but if you're speaking and nobody hears it, like a tree falling in the forest, no one hears it. I can say that out of all the rallies I ever remember doing over the past 27 years, that rally in Mississippi where there was hardly anybody there but police and press, it was the most demoralizing from the standpoint of a white nationalist than anything we'd ever been at. Whereas stories where we'd have fist fights and street battles and things like that, guys were like, man, we need to do that again. When can we have that? This rally was boring. So it's like we don't want to feed into that because I don't think it sends people out of the movements. I think it keeps people in there if they're doing that. But peaceful protesting, I think it's a good thing in that sense. But I got two solutions. One, completely ignore it. Or two, peaceful protest. But when the peaceful turns into violence, then it just blows everything out of the water and it's counterproductive.
Assemblymember Reyes.
I want to tell you that I am just so proud of having the young people. I think a lot of change is going to happen because of you.